Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news, and Solskjaer is demanding more signings. I mean, look, I want to just start off by saying that some of the stuff coming out, and if you've managed to avoid this outside of the UK today, then well done. But we've had people coming out with silly things like United should be deducted points for last night, and it's a disgrace that they put out 11 changes. And I'm like, whoa. Hold on a minute. We don't have responsibility for what Liverpool have done this season. We don't have responsibility for what the Premier League did to us. This is our fourth game in 7 days. And I don't care about what Tottenham did or what somebody did in 1985. I mean, I think in 1985 you probably played Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Day and every bloody day. I don't really care. This is real life. This is at the end of a 8-month season where we've played 3 times a week. And at the end of the day, we've got a Premier League squad. And there is nothing written in the rules that certain players must play every single game. And I'll tell you for what. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was pissed off last night. He wanted to pick his best team. I'm sure we all wanted to pick our best team. But we all said, there is no way we can pick our best team against Leicester. It's unfortunate. I think Leicester are very, very lucky that they got to play a United side like that. You know, not many teams, in fact, no other team in 38 games in a Premier League season and Leicester get to play a Man United side like that. Lucky Leicester. They've took advantage of it. They'll probably get Champions League football now. Do I think it's right? No, I didn't think it was right before. But because we've got second place already sorted, because we're already into the position where we're going to get Champions League, everybody's, it doesn't matter. But I said the integrity of the league was in jeopardy, and it was in jeopardy. And I do sympathise with West Ham, and I do sympathise with Chelsea, and I do sympathise with Liverpool. But take your complaints up with the Premier League, because they put us into this stupid situation that we never asked to be in, and there is absolutely no way, with the Europa League final 2 weeks today, we could have played Marcus Rashford, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. And these prats like Richard Keys and Andy Gray saying, oh yeah, you could have done. No, we couldn't have done it. And Trevor Sinclair as well. Jog on, mate. You're talking out your big arse. What are you on about? Absolute joke. And your arse is a face, and you're talking out of it because you're talking shit. I mean, I just, it doesn't really bother me as a United fan, but it bothers me that we're being criticised and being spoken about points deduction, which is just bloody ridiculous, to be honest with you. Anyway, on from that, let's talk about what Solskjaer said after the game, because some of you might not have seen it. Solskjaer demands transfers. What he basically said is, if we want to close the gap on Manchester City, who won the league last night, then we've got to build on the squad that we've got. And he mentioned, two signings. Manchester Evening News, funnily enough, are saying this morning that United want at least 3. I mean, how many we're going to sign? Let's not get excited about that. At the end of the day, you could buy 5 players, and it could be Sarr, Ben White, Trippier, and average players, or you might buy 2 players that are Varane and Sancho, and you go, wow, so quality over quantity, I'm afraid, is the factor here. But Solskjaer acknowledging that we do need to bring players in is absolutely spot on. Nick M says, even if we could pick our best team, why would we not rest our best players for matches versus our biggest rivals? Liverpool having a laugh if they think we should do them favours, says Nick. Well, I think Liverpool's, and I know Klopp's got his press conference at lunchtime, I think Liverpool's frustration at Manchester United is totally misplaced. I certainly remember Liverpool playing in the FA Cup last season and playing their youth side. And they beat Everton. So if Jurgen Klopp comes out and has a go at United, he's got a very short memory. I'm going to call him Goldfish Klopp. I don't think he will. Hopefully he will aim it at the Premier League, because the Premier League are the people who inflicted this ridiculous fixture congestion on us. But talking about Man City for a moment, we definitely do need to add players, and it's good that our manager's coming out. And I think this is a clever play from Solskjaer to come out and say, if we want to, and if you haven't seen the quotes, I'll read them out in a moment, but what he basically said is that if we want to close the gap on Manchester City, then we've got to add players to that squad. And he's 100% correct. 100% correct. He's got to do that. But I think Ollie's in a position of strength here, because we already know that the Glazers are under pressure. And Solskjaer knows that. But Solskjaer already knows that he's getting a new contract. He's finished second in the league. He's going to hopefully win the Europa League. So now is the time to just say, look, from my point of view, I don't want to be saying there's no value in the market. I don't want to be saying I'm happy with this squad. Man City have just won the league. I'm second. I'm never going to get this opportunity again. I'm never going to get an opportunity where the club is in a mess. Everybody knows the Glazers are bad. He's in a good, strong position. And he can vocally say, I want to bring players in. That's not normally Ollie's way of speaking, although he always does talk about strengthening the squad. He's hit the nail on the head at exactly the right time. I need to bring players into this squad. What's the situation on Harry Maguire's injury? Will he be available for the final, says Ryan. I think he will do. I think he will be, yeah. I do think he'll be available. So look, let me just read you what Ollie actually said, but I think it's absolutely spot on, and it's rather encouraging, to be honest with you, that he's actually talking about it, because we do need to bring players in. What he's going to bring in, I mean, I look at that game last night and I think, you know what? The midfield still is a huge, huge issue for Manchester United. And I think that is where he definitely needs to be looking to improve. I thought Van der Beek did quite well last night, and I thought Matic for 45 minutes was very good as well. But, you know, you could find fault in both of those players. Certainly Matic is not a player for the future. And certainly I think that Van der Beek needs a run of games. And I would argue, like as I said in my match reaction last night, I would argue that when it comes to Van der Beek, we've seen a lot of times we've seen that, you know, Fred's been given a lot of games, McTominay's been given a lot of games, but, you know, I think, you know, somebody just said there Van der Beek was rubbish last night. I think you're a bit of a prat, Jazdil. I genuinely do think you are a prat. I hate to call you out. You've come into my eye line, and you're a prat, because I don't get that. I don't get that pratism. I don't get how a player that's not played and you expect him to go into United side, which is a weakened United side. You know, why can't Van der Beek play in the pivot with Fred and have Bruno ahead of him and Greenwood on the right of him and Rashford and Wan-Bissaka and Maguire and Lindelof? You know, you're dropping him into a position that he's barely played this season, and he's barely played this season anyway, in a team that's, you know, a weakened team against a very strong Leicester team. And I don't think he played badly. I thought he was an average. But I saw enough in Van der Beek that what I would love to see with Van der Beek is I'd love to see him play against Liverpool. I'd love to see him play against Fulham and Wolves. And I guarantee by the Wolves game, you'd be going, Van der Beek's brilliant, he's got to play more. But that's not going to happen, is it? And I'm firm on this. Really am. I think if Van der Beek was played in that position for the next 4 or 5 games, he would get better and better and better. Exactly what we've tried to do with Fred and McTominay. They play week in, week out. And the improvement, really, it's a bit like a bloody trying to start a Skoda. It just won't start. Imagine if Van der Beek was given the amount of starts that Fred and McTominay have been given. And I think he would get better. But the reality is, could he be any bloody worse? I mean, every game we're talking about McTominay and Fred not working. Van der Beek plays one game and everyone's like, shit, he's crap. What's the hype? And I'm like, oh, can't you get your head around how pratty you are being? Like, Van der Beek gets one game, oh, he's shit, he's rubbish, McFred, play for all season, they're shit, but let's pick them. So I just think that Van der Beek needs to be given more opportunity in that position, and I personally found a positive in the fact that he did play. Anyway, let me just read this from Ollie. These are the direct quotes. He said, what's he said? If you want to take up the challenge with Manchester City, we need to strengthen our squad. We want to take the next step, and it might be that we need a couple more to strengthen the squad. Well, he's saying might be, but look, you know, that's just being pragmatic. He has to bring in players. He also said it is impossible for the players to perform at this level going from Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. It can't be like this again. We can't play like Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday to Thursday. It's impossible. That's the reason we made the changes. It's unheard of that you have to do that. And he also said we saw the leadership with Nemanja Matic, and Mason Greenwood look like a seasoned professional when he's only 19. We haven't had too much time to prepare, and we went into the half-time pleased. Didn't get out of the traps in the second half, and they scored from a corner. And he also said congratulations to Man City. But ultimately, I think the big thing is, and also Manchester Evening News say that Manchester United's preference is a minimum of 3 signings in the upcoming transfer window. So Ollie knows that he's got to build out that team, and he does have to do that. I think that where we go, and that's the big thing that we're always going to be talking about, what we bring in, how we bring in. And I can only say what I said on the show on Monday night. I think if anybody's looking at who we're going to bring in, why we're going to bring in, I'd say that I still firmly believe that United want Sancho, and I think that that's the player that they're going to go for as the marquee signing. He ticks every single box. Personally, if I could choose between Sancho, Rice and Varane, I'd put Sancho at number 3 because I know what we need to build the team, and we saw it last night. I mean, what a glimpse we got last night for 45 minutes. that first 45 minutes, and I bet Ricky was very excited, but I mean, Matic was shit in the second half. I'm sorry, he was. He got tired, and this is why he doesn't play very often, because he's too old for it. But that first 45 minutes was the best CDM performance we've seen from a United player this season. Matic's first 45 minutes against a very good Leicester side was leadership, it was domineering, it was confident, he was everywhere. And that's what many of us are talking about. When we talk about buying a centre defensive midfielder, look at Matic's first 45 minutes yesterday, because that's what we're talking about. That's what we want. A player who can do that, who shields the back four, who drops into between the back four to take the ball. And then when he's got it, he's spraying passes left, right and centre. And when he's passing it, he's playing a 1-2. He's breaking up the play. He's dominating the midfield. That is why we need a centre defensive midfielder. And if you buy a centre defensive midfielder like that, you've just taken two players and said, sit on the bench, I'm using one. Well, the team becomes better straight away. Instead of playing McTominay and Fred, you've got one player who does the job better than them too. That 45 minutes from Matic in the first half yesterday was better than anything McFred have done all season in the CDM role. And that's one player. We play two players who can't do what Matic did in that first 45. Unfortunately, Matic can't do it week in, week out because he's too old now. But this is why it's such an important position, because the team will change completely. And then obviously a quicker centre-back with Maguire will make us change. But I think United will go for Sancho because it sells them shirts, it gets positivity, it's a high-profile signing, probably be the biggest profile signing of the summer. So I think that they definitely will go for Sancho. Sachin says, Mark, why is Ollie ignoring a great centre-back? Axel in the making. He just got better as the game went on. He shut down Mbappe and yet he's not given a chance. I'll talk about Tuanzebe in a minute. Bring me back to that one, Sachin. You make a good point. But in relation to Jadon Sancho, I think that he is a player that Manchester United will definitely be looking at. And I think that, very interesting, that result yesterday, as much as it was frustrating because we basically gifted... We may as well have wrapped it up and put a little bow on it. We gifted Leicester 3 points, which basically secures them Champions League football and means that Liverpool are in the Europa League. Makes it a very interesting game between United and Liverpool tomorrow night, by the way, because I want to beat them. And they will want to beat us big time because they've got to. But if Liverpool don't get into the Champions League, look, Sancho can still go there. Pogba came to United in the Europa League. But if you're Jadon Sancho... You want to go to United, you quite like the look of Liverpool, but United are in the Champions League and Liverpool are in the Europa League. We've got a really good chance now. So, look, I think we will get Sancho, but I'm not doing 90% or anything until he's holding up the shirt. I think it's going to be harder than last summer. Why should we be worried about what Klopp says? We should be focused on the fact we've let City win another title. Stop embarrassing us talking about top four, says Angelo. I don't know what you're talking about, mate. And welcome to the Members Club, FND. I think Angelo obviously woke up with a boil on his arse. Angelo, I've got no interest in Man City winning the Premier League because I knew Man City were winning the Premier League 3 months ago. I was talking about it 3 months. If you've just woken up to the fact that we need to improve and that Man City not winning the league is unacceptable, then well done. Welcome to the club. We've been talking about this for a long time. It's probably one of the big reasons Glazer's out is trending. It's probably one of the big reasons most United fans aren't very happy. But it doesn't mean you can't acknowledge the fact that Solskjaer's done a very, very good job. In the circumstances. He didn't get back last summer. I don't know why people pretend that Solskjaer's doing a great job and, we're heading in the right direction. He is doing a great job. Are we heading in the right direction? Well, not only because Ollie's heading in the right direction, not because the club is. The club's a bloody joke. He didn't get backed in the summer. Sancho should be at this... I'm talking about Sancho coming to United this summer. He should be here already. He was packed ready to leave Germany from Manchester last summer. Ollie thought he was coming as well and the Glazers messed it up. Well, imagine if we'd had Sancho in this team this year. All the time, for 75% of this season, we've been talking about the graveyard shift, about United not getting the right players in. And lo and behold, we get Pogba in the final four with Bruno and start creating chances for the striker. That would have been Sancho all season. We should have had Sancho this season and a centre-back. So, you know what? We're already... handbrake on under this ownership. But yeah, look, who do I think Ollie would want to bring in? I think that's the question I would ask to the live chat and everybody who's watching. Who do you think Ollie thinks are the two players that he needs to bring in? And I personally think that I do think Ollie thinks he needs... Well, no, he doesn't now because he's got Cavani. I just hope Ollie knows he needs a centre-back and a CDM. I hope he can see what Matic did in the first half yesterday and go, my team would be revolutionised if I had a really good CDM, because it would. And I hope for the life of me he doesn't think that Matic can do a job next season, because he can't. Him and Mata have got to retire. And by retire, I mean go and play in Serie A with Jose, because the Premier League is too fast for them. But realistically, you know, Varane and a top quality CDM is what I would be looking at. I actually thought Diallo did quite well last night as well. I mean, look, another player that very similar to Van der Beek for me. I think Van der Beek is a Man United first teamer, and I think Diallo is a Man United first teamer. But they're not going to be first teamers by just dropping them in with a bit of fairy dust and go, ta-da! They've got to play games. So many people. Look at the development of Mason Greenwood. Mason Greenwood at the moment is nowhere near his full potential, generational talent and all that. But over the last 2 years, 2.5 years, we've seen the development of Greenwood. Did Greenwood come into the team and start scoring hat-tricks? No, he had good games, he had bad games. Development, faith, trust, games. Diallo, yesterday and against Milan, has already shown enough more than what Dan James shows, I think. And Dan James gets more game time. Diallo needs more game time. Diallo needs to be treated like Greenwood. He needs to be a permanent fixture on the bench. He needs to be a permanent fixture in relation to his starts. Sometimes he comes on for 20 minutes because he's, you know, people say he's small. I don't see an issue with his height. Physically, he's very strong, very confident on the ball. I think Diallo needs to play more games. Don't worry about City, but you have consistently said we should have aspirations to win the title. Stop lowering our standards. Anglo, that's your last one. If you want to waste another fiver, it's up to you. You're not dominating this show with your verbal diarrhea. You're talking out your arse, mates. Absolute nonsense. You're repeating stuff I've been saying for 2 years and saying I've not been saying it. Aman is amazing and yes, quite strong physical, says Hawks. Yeah, I think, as I said last night, the big thing about Diallo for me is that he's ready. He's ready to go. Let's use him. But Tuanzebe, I've got no answers for you people. I can talk to you about Van der Beek. I can talk to you about Diallo. With Tuanzebe, I can't talk to you about it. I don't know what to say. Sakin says Matic should retire and train the youth setup. No, he should retire and go to Italy. You know, if he can play like that for 45 minutes against Leicester, he can play like that for 90 minutes against Lazio or something like that. It's a slower pace, and you go and retire in Italy and play some football, I think. But no, I think that with Tuanzebe, I have no answers. I mean, my only theory on Tuanzebe is there some issue? Because I always said this, Tuanzebe was injured for a year, and we never really knew what it was. Van Dijk won't be out for a year, and his knees got bloody snapped, you know, so... What was the problem with Tuanzebe for a year? What was the injury or injuries that kept him out for a year? What was it? Because it's always almost like brushed under the carpet. What was it? A year is a long time. I mean, it's standard with Phil Jones, but look, with Tuanzebe, what was it that kept him out for a year? And is there really something going on behind the scenes with Tuanzebe about can he play very often, this, that and the other? You could go down the injury theory that he's being managed back in. But I don't think that is it, because I don't think Ollie's been opposed to using when he's got nothing else to use. But Steve Locke says Van der Beek can do Fred's job with ease. I think that Tuanzebe just hasn't been trusted ahead of Maguire, Lindelof, and Bailly. I think he's the fourth choice centre back. I think in Ollie's head, Tuanzebe is fourth choice, and that's why he's not played very often, because when you look at when he's played PSG and all the other games, it's when nobody else is available. I'll pick Tuanzebe. But I'm going to say this right here, right now, with my chest. I think Tuanzebe offers way more to the team than Lindelof. And Bailly. I think he offers more than Bailly as well. Yeah, he's a bit young. Yeah, he's a bit raw, but his attributes are another player. He's another Van der Beek and he's another Diallo. If you played him 4 or 5 games in a row, he will get better and better. But if you don't play him, he's never going to get the opportunity. And I think that with Tuanzebe, watching Fofana last night and watching Tuanzebe, I would never know that one's, you know, people want to pay 80 million for one and the other one we're going to sell to Villa for 5 million. Like, the difference between the two players wasn't there. And I know it's only one game. And, you know, that's the reason why Tuanzebe should have been given more games. But I think Tuanzebe's probably going to be sold in the summer. And it's sad because he's good on the ball, he's quick, he's strong, and he reads the game really, really well. That contrasting with Maguire would work really, really well. It's a surprising one because you got the media absolutely obsessed with getting an English goalkeeper in goal and kicking out a world-class goalkeeper in De Gea. Yet we're wide open space in the centre-back position, and there's a young English centre-back that could be England's best centre-back. And then there's no media push for Tuanzebe, but Dean Henderson, get rid of a world-class goalkeeper to put Hendo in because he's English. And I like Hendo, as you know, but at centre-back, Lindelof's Swedish English media. He's Swedish. English, get rid of the Swedish. It's not, I don't understand. I mean, I don't condone any of that, of course. But what I'm saying is, I don't understand why there's not been an obsession for Tuanzebe this season, because he actually has delivered in really good games and deserves more game time and actually has got the attributes that we need. But I can't comment on it. I just find it baffling. Both Ollie and Maguire have said Tuanzebe is a future captain. Ollie can't all of a sudden not rate him. Gutted if he were to leave, says Mark. He's just not been given the games. He's just not been given the games. I don't get it. And as I said, controversial or not, I think he's better than I think he offers more for us than Lindelof. And look, I like Lindelof. He's weak. He's not very good in the air. He's not very quick. So what are we keeping Lindelof for? Why is it Lindelof and Maguire? It's like the Van der Beek in the midfield. Oh, he's shit last night. Let's not try that again. We play McFred every week. Oh, Tuanzebe at centre-back is shit. Let's use Lindelof, who's weak, slow, and not very good in the air. So it's like there is obvious improvement options there that we've just not tried this season. But we're second in the league and we're in a final. So you can't, we're not moaning, but what I'm saying is that we're never going to win a league with Lindelof and Maguire, and we're never going to win a league with McFred. And we all talk about buying players like Varane and Declan Rice, but you know what? There might be a couple of players right under our nose that will improve us in those positions, but we'll never know because Van der Beek might leave and Tuanzebe might leave. So yeah, it is what it is with that one. But look, I think that Ollie hopefully will be looking at a centre-back and a CDM. Now, my concern is that if we're looking at a centre-back, he ain't going to get rid of Maguire. He ain't going to get rid of Lindelof. He's promised Eric Bailly game time, who, let's be honest, since Eric Bailly signed a new contract, has been shit. He was shit against Roma and he was shit last night. He has had COVID. I don't know whether he was symptomatic with COVID or not. But he doesn't look anywhere near his best at the moment, Eric Bailly. He looks like, I don't know what's wrong with him at the moment. And obviously that means you've got 4 centre-backs if Tuanzebe stays. So why are we buying a centre-back if we're not selling Tuanzebe? It's logical to me that we're going to sell Tuanzebe because he ain't going to sell Maguire, he ain't going to sell Lindelof. He's just giving Bailly a new contract. And if we're buying a centre-back, that's 4. You won't have 5. Axel doesn't pass well from the back at all, and we do not have a pivot. Donny was poor yesterday, couldn't pivot or pass well. We need a CDM, and only then may Van der Beek may find a spot, says Vinit. Well, that's your opinion, Vinit. Thank you very much for it. I disagree with you on both points, but well done. Our centre-backs are far too slow, need speed and forward passing players at centre-backs, says Daniel Last. And yeah, so hopefully I think Ollie will be looking at, when Ollie comes out after the match yesterday like he did and says that we need to improve this squad to get close to City, then I'm hoping that he looks at centre-back and CDM. But he's where Ollie's wrong but right is that he can't come out and say, yeah, I need to make changes, this, that and the other. He can't come out and do that. But what he can do, he's dropped a hint that he wants a couple of players and he's right. But the reality is, if I'm honest with you now, and I say to you how many players... And Axel's super fast. He started from a standstill against a running Vardy and caught him. He's super fast. But will Tuanzebe play against Liverpool? No, Anand. And that's the thing. Tuanzebe should start against Liverpool with Lindelof. He'll start Bailly because he'll go with the experience again. And I think, that's a prime example of why Axel should start. But how many players do you think United need this summer? Well, we won't get them, but I think that we need... I think to catch Man City, honestly, and we're not going to buy this many players, so forget about it. To catch Manchester City, we need 2 quality midfielders that can play in the midfield, because we're all going on about 1. All right, what if you buy Ndidi or you buy Declan Rice and they pull the hamstring in October? You're back to McFred again. So we need 2. We need 2 midfielders who can play in the pivot and hold the midfield, because we haven't got any. So we need 2 there. We need a centre-back, so that's 3. We need a backup right-back, that's 4. We need a right winger who can play left wing as well, so that's 5. And we probably need Well, we need Pogba to stay, so that's 6. That's 5 players. And people say we don't need that, but Man City have won this league because they've got 2 first teams. We haven't got 1 first team, and we're always talking about we need this and that, but we're only building the first team. We're not building the squad that you need. Look at Liverpool this year. They've not been able to cope. Two or three players get injured, they're screwed. Like Klopp quite rightly said, our spine has been broken this season and we can't move forward. And he's right. But Man City, I heard Anua, the ex-Man City centre-back last night, and he was like, oh, Man City are not getting enough credit. At the end of the day, we lose Aguero and we lose De Bruyne, 2 of the best players in the world in February, and we've still won the league. And I was like, mate, what are you talking about? Oh, let me get the world's smallest violin out. Oh, De Bruyne and Aguero got injured in February. Oh, what are we going to do? Well, you're just going to go to your bench and pull another couple of world-class players out. So that's the problem with United. We lose Bruno next season, or we lose Rashford or Pogba. We turn to the bench and we're like, and this is the modern game. You don't catch Man City by buying a couple of players. You catch Man City by having 16, 17 international class players. James says your annoyance is misplaced. Maybe you're not living in the city. It shows here them winning the league is horrible and you're worried about Liverpool. I'm not talking about Liverpool, mate. I don't know what you're talking about, James. Got no idea what you're talking about. With Ahmad, I don't think size matters. Lamptey is small and he's at similar age too, albeit a bit different, says Tony Shepherd. I don't know what this obsession with Liverpool is, and this assumption that I'm not bothered that City are winning the league. I have constantly said that the standards of this football club are way below where they need to be. Man City are winning a lot of titles. They're the best team in England at the moment, and they're also in Manchester. So that's very, very annoying. But what I'm talking about this morning about Liverpool is that if Liverpool are in the Europa League, that might help us get Jadon Sancho, which might help us close a gap on City. There's a very big gap between us and City. The only other mention I've had to Liverpool is the fact that we are being criticised this morning for putting out a weakened team. And I think if Klopp's got anything about him, he'll blame the Premier League. Do you think Axel could cover a CDM, Stian? Well, the one thing I would agree with about Tuanzebe is that his passing range would need to be a lot better to play CDM. You do need somebody that's there. Kieran says, did you see those massive celebrations at the Etihad, Mark? Well, to repeat what I read on Twitter this morning, if that's a massive celebration for a Man City title win, we get a bigger crowd for a protest. And in relation to their massive celebration at the Etihad, I've seen more life in Pele's cock. It was just like being at a bloody wedding when you don't want to be there. It was just like, hey, yeah, it's just fake. It just came across as fake. Man City have actually got real fans. So, where are they? Where are these fans? I don't know. Maybe they're getting bored of it. I don't know. But look, I'll repeat what Ollie said. I'll repeat what... I wouldn't have said this a few weeks ago, but fair play to Manchester City. Well done to Manchester City. I'd normally think Man City are a team that are ruining football with all them bloody money. But at the end of the day, we can't say that with our owners. We've ruined it ourselves, haven't we? So there you go. Graham says maybe they know the success is hollow. I don't know about that. I mean, look, I don't know. I don't really care what Man City fans think. I think some of them will be very, very happy. But... is it a little bit like when I remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive and it was bloody hard. And then somebody told me this cheat code where you can just get to play the final boss. And I spent half an hour just figuring out how to beat him, and then I beat it and I won it. And you run through all the previous levels with everyone clapping you. And I felt like a fraud. I was like, I haven't really completed the game though. I have completed the game, but I've done it on a cheat code to get to the final. And now everyone's celebrating. And I thought, how rewarding would it be if I'd gone through all the levels and done it properly? But I never would have been able to do that because I wasn't good enough. So I've cheated my way to the final and now I've won it. Maybe some Man City fans feel like that. You do celebrate it, but maybe it does feel a little bit hollow because you've not really done it properly. But Chelsea have done it that way. Blackburn did it that way. There'll be plenty of clubs who want to do it that way. And where I would stick up for Man City fans is that they never would have done it. They were never, ever going to win Premier League titles if they didn't get the money that they've got. So if you've got that choice as any fan of any football club, Do you want to just stay fighting, for mid-table and yo-yoing up and down, or do you want to actually win some titles? You can't begrudge them that. But we wake up this morning, Man City have won the title. You wouldn't know Man City had won the title because everyone's talking about United putting out a reserve side in a game that really doesn't matter to anybody. And that's the story this morning on Talk Shit, on everything else. They're going on about that, but Man City have just won a league title. I don't really care as a United fan, I'm not bothered. But it just shows you that Arsenal's problems are probably more headlines than Man City winning another Premier League title. Man United putting a reserve side out is a bigger headline than Man City winning a title. And that's look, where the United stand, we've got enough problems at Manchester United, Glazers for a start. But if Man City want to be a big club, they've got to somehow figure out a way to become relevant. And they're winning titles, but they still don't seem to get that relevancy. But it's not my problem to discuss about that. What I want to see is Man United buying players to close the gap on Manchester City. And we will buy players. Whatever anybody thinks. Glazer's out 100%. That needs to keep going. People need to keep working on that. I see a lot of your comments. I see a lot of people on social media. They're getting anxious. They feel that the fire's going out. I've got to be honest with you. The communication at the moment has gone very quiet. I don't know what people are looking to do, because in that first couple of weeks, it was all about unity. Can you get this petition signed? This, that and the other. Very quiet now. I said this would happen. Where is the unity? Have people made deals? Are people doing their own things? I don't know what's going on. But what is for certain is that it's not the time to take the foot off the pedal. The Glazers are panicking. So why isn't there that push? We know there's a protest tomorrow. Maybe that's the calm before the storm. I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But Man United are going to spend money this summer. They will spend money this summer because they have to spend money. The Glazers are on the ropes and they've got to come out and start throwing some punches back. And the only way they can fight back is by actually trying to win back support. They can't be dictatorial about it. They can't just go, yeah, we're going to carry on like this, because it's not going to work. They have to spend money, and I believe that they will spend money. Mark, we should also look at Frank Kessie from SA Milan. He's strong, can score, give good passes. I love Kessie, Movic. I love Kessie. I liked Kessie when he was at Atalanta. I do like Kessie. I'd heard he was going to go to Chelsea, but if he was available, I would go for Kessie, because he's another player that can play in the midfield that can do a really good job there. Basuma, says George Kyle, he would be fantastic as well. I mean, if I think we need two players there. If somebody said to me, you're buying Kessie and Basuma, I'd be over the moon, because I think as a midfield two, they'd work really well. Basuma could sit, Kessie could be more advanced. We're not going to buy two, but we do need... Kessie won't come to United because we've got Van der Beek, because we've got McTominay, because we've got Pogba. He's not the holding midfielder that we need. We need the disciplined holding midfielder. Gardner's not going to be ready next season, Ken. I think anybody who's talking about Garner for next year, you may as well print Glazers in on your forehead, because you're just letting them off. If you let this club say Garner's ready to be our CDM next year, your Glazers in, mate, because he's not ready to do that, and Ollie will not do it anyway. When has Ollie ever took a 19-year-old or 20-year-old and chucked them straight into the team every minute as a pivot? He ain't going to do that. So Garner needs to be on loan next season, and then maybe in a year's time we say bring him back. We need to buy a CDM. Welcome to the Members Club, Andy. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video. We've got another preview coming up at lunchtime, because we've got Liverpool tomorrow night. And then we've got the show tonight as well. 8 o'clock show tonight, of course. So thanks everyone for watching. Positivity in a sense. But look, Man City have won the league, and we've got to be looking at how we stop them winning the league again. You know, they could have won a treble this year. What's to stop them doing it next year? We've got to be better. And I think that's what I would say to you. If it wasn't for Chelsea, we'd be shitting ourselves about our treble being taken this year. Who's to say that City won't do it next year? We need to be closing that gap next year and beating more teams to make it more difficult for Man City to get closer to our records. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you all soon.